Sykes, the Bottom Line Pharmacy podcast. We've got a great show for you this week, but before we get into the show, if you find this episode valuable, please like, share, and subscribe so we can help more independent pharmacy owners. Also, visit us at pharmacyaccounting.com. If you're overpaying in tax, if you're prepping to start, buy, or sell a pharmacy, or just have a gut feeling that your financials aren't quite right, we have a suite of services for every need your pharmacy is facing. Go to pharmacyaccounting.com and we can help you. Okay, now on to the show.
Door to door, I know we've got a number of as you may or may not know, all we do is work with independent pharmacies all over the country, hundreds of them. Yep. And we've been pushing a number of our folks to you guys to talk to them, and we've got several of them that are on board with you now. And I know you obviously have involved AI in that process, and just I think whatever you can tell us that would help in this podcast for the understanding for those that are viewing this, which will probably be hundreds, maybe even thousands of views, would be very appreciative. So I'll just let you take the floor.
Let me run my mouth for a minute. Yeah, and then we can go down any rabbit hole you guys want. So, so, from a drugstore to door perspective, our goal since we've started this thing, and it's continued to morph since I chatted with Scotty, I don't know, it's been a year or two ago that we did this, but the goal was, how do we digitize independent pharmacy in every way possible so that anything a consumer could accomplish walking through their doors, we could make that action happen online. And then what are the things that that pharmacies are doing today that we feel are great or very well suited for technology? So you think about things like you have a lot of pharmacies now doing the Medicare stuff, right? And you have a lot of pharmacies that are doing, where they have a licensed insurance agent in store and they're helping drive plan selections. Or you've got, pharmacies that realize, hey, I should probably start growing business on top of, continually getting my ass handed to me from the PBMs and do something a little different in my practice. And so as we start looking at all these initiatives, we started to leverage both automations and AI in the back end to start to drive these. So we look at everything as a completed funnel. So that's starting from the website all the way back to whatever style of communication we're going to have with a customer, and then what that progression looks like to drive a customer from A to Z. So how are we going to get that action we want out of the customer? Is it booking the Medicare call? Is it refilling their prescriptions? Is it purchasing the upsell on the prescription products that they're taking from the pharmacy? And then, as all of us know on this call, we are a society of impatience. And so if we can't do those things right when we want to do those things, then we default to the Amazons of the world and other places because life is really easy there. And even myself as an owner of this company, I still go back and default to Amazon. And I pay attention to the times that I default to an Amazon versus using my own pharmacies that I own. I mean, it's ridiculous. There are times that I will go place an Amazon order on something I could have ordered through my own pharmacy, personal pharmacy, and I still go to Amazon. That's how beautiful the technology piece is. And so as much as pharmacies want to tout like, hey, we have incredible customer service, there is a line between convenience and customer service, and you got to close that gap. You have to bridge it. Now, if you have phenomenal customer service paired with phenomenal technology, maybe you got an edge. But people will take a much crappier experience for the ease of use all day long, and we do it in our everyday lives. And so we just want pharmacies to be on par with what's going on out there. So when we run these things, I mean, we have AI voice now to a place where it can book appointments, it can suggest upsells, it can drop orders into systems. So when we take a pharmacy now, we say, all right, the pharmacy management system is what operates your pharmacy. Our goal now is to take all of the initiatives and everything you do in communication with that customer, and let's start to drive transactional value for those customers in every way possible. And so we've seen people go run subscriptions on our platforms where we've had customers now I had one customer hit $18K in recurring revenue on a cash discount program. So this is the membership only. That's before getting paid for drugs, before getting paid for any of the other stuff. So just driving customers through a funnel to get them to actually pay a membership fee. We're seeing it in weight loss programs. I've had Medicare folks that we run automation to get a customer from a pharmacy customer to an insurance agent, booked, scheduled, ready to go. Seeing the insurance agent, we've seen upticks of close to 300-400 booked appointments over a 2-week period, leveraging AI and automation in conversation. So, I mean, just, you can't touch it. I haven't seen a staff that can touch it. And so our objective is not to necessarily get rid of people. Mine might be in some instances, but it's to repurpose people or to leverage the technology to put people doing the human side of the interaction and then let the technology drive kind of the repetitive side. You know, like I've had a lot of staff in my lifetime, and it's like trying to get people to sell who aren't accustomed to selling or comfortable selling don't sell well, quite frankly. And that's the majority of independent pharmacy. And so when you try to go blow initiatives in a pharmacy and you want them to succeed, they tend to fail. And we learned this the hard way with our technology. So anybody who's listening who used us early on, you got to fail with us because we provided you technology, but there was no infrastructure for what to do with that technology. So what we learned quickly is majority of pharmacies weren't equipped to take what we were giving them and go do something with it. Become an online retailer, become an e-commerce player, you know, go out there and drive different upsells or initiatives or whatever it might be. So we've never been afraid to release, call it prematurely, but I think it was all timely. It's just release, test the market, let's get feedback from the pharmacies, and then let's iterate and then let's develop. And we've continued to do that cycle over and over and over again to where today, if you've used us 6 months prior to today, your mind will be blown on where things are today versus just what we saw 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. And we've been incredibly fortunate that technology has just continued to speed up in a way that's just mind-boggling. So the tools and the access to tools and the things we can leverage that we couldn't even 2 years ago, for the cost structure that we can leverage them now and pass on to pharmacy is mind-blowing. So
are you integrating clinical services at all into this AI model process through your system?
You could. So like, let's say you were going to do, you know, point of care testing, or you were going to do like a test and treat if your area allowed for those types of things. Those are all funnels, right? You're saying, hey, I want to talk to my customers. I want to find out who's the subset of customer who's going to do this thing. Once I find out who wants to do this thing, I've got my avatar. How do I get that avatar then to go through step A, B, and C so that we get the result, which is D, and that's collecting the money and putting it into the bank account, right? So all of those steps, those tend to be fantastic automation steps or AI-driven steps or some combination. And so that can be through text message, that can be through voice, that can be through email, that can be through social media. That could be direct flow through website. It could be QR driven. It could be live. There's so many combinations of things that could be put together. And that's where we come in and leverage the technology to augment the human effort to drive that success.
So how easy it is for an independent to set up through your system in the processes you're describing?
So we've gone from a 90+ day lead time because we do everything custom to we've knocked it down to 30 days at this point, and we're very close leveraging our own tools and automations inside to where we think we'll have pharmacies flipped in under 2 weeks in the very near future, and our aspirations are 1 day. So it's an incredible amount of technology that we turn on with custom sites, custom links, custom, you know, again, all custom funneling. That's just done at record neck-breaking speed, quite frankly, for it not to be just a templated spit out, everyone gets the same crap, you know, do the same thing.
So this is for a pharmacy that wants to get into different areas or branch out into different diversified revenue opportunities and is looking at automating that, maybe the intake process, the administrative process, the communication process. I mean, is that what we're talking about here? I mean, I just want to make sure I'm following along.
No, I would say I could go into any pharmacy today and I could automate processes that I think they're burning and wasting time on. So I'll give you a fantastic example. I had a pharmacy that we brought on last week. They had a human getting on the phone to make MedSync phone calls and to make refills coming due phone calls to get ahead of ordering product when it came in, which is a great way to use your resources, right? In the same time that a human's going to make 500 phone calls to patients, which would be hours, I will accomplish that in minutes. Be direct to patient, address them by name. It will take them down whatever funnel I need them to. And if they ultimately need to talk to a human, I can funnel them to a human. But I can go take what that pharmacy was doing, and they took a $20+ an hour technician. They repurposed that technician who was burning up 5 hours a day every single day on these initiatives, and repurposed them completely. So it's for everything. I mean, if you're running your pharmacy old school today with the amount of resources you have for the little bit of money it takes to do it, it's crazy in my opinion to be doing it that way.
Yeah. And you can repurpose that team member to do other things like build out an additional revenue stream that you're looking at, diversifying. They can go there. They can go towards treating patients, helping patients. I mean, that's ideal as opposed to like, calling people and trying to get prescriptions refilled.
Yeah.
Well, and most likely they're not the best salesperson. I mean, if you got a rock star salesperson, then put them on the hot leads with the big ticket items that have a lot of margin on it, and find whatever path that is and give that to your rock star salesperson, right? Like I have one in one of my stores. We put them on high-end nutraceuticals. And so I just gave him a commission structure on high-end nutraceuticals. He, learned the game, and that dude's doing $15,000-$20,000 a month in high-end nutraceuticals with a, margin that puts $10K a month in the bank account, right? Mm-hmm. So, and people just discount how many different areas there are. There are so many businesses out there that give their left leg for our foot traffic, and we just do a terrible job capitalizing on the foot traffic. So, the other place, Scott, I would say that pharmacies should pay attention to is, we've built all of these tools are smart enough now too to look at the purchasing side of the house. So that's another place I see pharmacies just leave a crap ton of money on the table is their purchasing habits. It's a convoluted space. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole on this phone call, but there's so many games that are played on that side of the house. And so we've built a lot of technology in that regard too, to optimize how these pharmacies can perform, can kind of open some eyes to what's working, what's not working. And I'm all for the easy wins. So like, where's their money on the table to go get now? And then what are the things that have a longer tail on them that we got to go build out over time? And so I always tell pharmacies, like, let's look at highest value, lowest hanging fruit, smallest lift. Like, what can we do in that trifecta as we put things together so that we make instant value show up?
Yeah. No, I love that. Most people are going to be focused on filling the prescription, taking care of the patient. They're not really looking at those other opportunities that AI is going to be able to say, like, hey, there's other opportunities with this patient here to help not only increase their care, but also to generate more revenue as well. You've already got the patient. You've already got the audience. You just need to find other ways to utilize that and generate more.
And speaking of the purchasing, we've had other vendors on here that do the purchasing side with the technology piece. So maximizing the prime vendor, shopping around for the others. So we have seen a little bit of that, which obviously there's a huge opportunity there because a lot of pharmacies don't take advantage of that, or they're all doing it manually, as I'm sure you know, AJ, which takes up half their day.
It can't be done manually.
And they usually do it wrong. Do it wrong. Pharmacies we've helped, we know that side of the game. When we help them and we go look at what they're doing and the savings they perceive to get, unless you've got an analytics team and you're actually running some real numbers and you know how to dissect that deal, even a lot of these third-party softwares, they're still not optimized. They may be optimized for price savings, but if you really look at the strategy of purchasing, they're still not optimized. And that takes some really heavy learning to do it at that level, outside of saying like, hey, my primary deal's a 15% GPR, and then I want you to go shop outside of this deal and I want you to save me as much money. Well, that's like a fine subset of rules, but you're still missing 4 other subsets of rules that go into effect when you think about how you're purchasing and how you're maximizing it. So, that's kind of the difference. Us living, breathing, eating independent pharmacy, we live in the world. So we operate businesses. We, we deal with customers. We deal with the patients. We we live it. So we know when stuff's not working. We know when things are working. We know what it looks like. Ollin, you've got some of my customers on your accounting side of the house. I've got customers that are traditional retail shops that have 29, 30% or 29, 30% gross profit margin, which is unheard of in this space, quite frankly.
Yeah, the retail space is.
Yeah.
So AJ, drugstore to door is pretty much you kind of cover anything. So you'll go in there and customize whatever it is a pharmacy's looking to do. I mean, that's what it sounds like here.
Yeah, because when you break this down, so mark my words, and we can time check this, pharmacy is going to be overtaken by automation and AI 90+%. And then we're going to have to reshape, which I'm going to piss some people off saying that. We're going to have to reshape how we do pharmacy. I don't think we're deleted, but I think we should all be excited by the fact that the repetitive work of data entry, of prescription filling, of PAs, of refill requests, all that crap that just consumes the whole damn day, where you can't actually go engage in things that drive value for your pharmacies or valuable relationships because you're dealing with an insurance that won't cover something. These are all well suited for technology to take over completely. And even if it's the straightforward cases it starts with, and then it starts to move to edge cases, and then it starts to pick more up, to me, that should be exciting news, especially for us independent retail pharmacies, because then the cost structure goes down and we get to look at an employee load where instead of hiring 4 or 5 hot bodies to do the work, you hire 2 rock stars at double the pay, and you shed the bodies, and now you start to run a business that makes sense. I mean, I have 7 stores myself. I'd love to have a manager. I'd love to have a sales department. I'd love to have, guess what? There's no funds for that today because I got to have so many hot bodies to do the task at hand that you can't free the funds up to actually put the infrastructure in place to do those things, which we're changing, obviously. But those are things that I'm sensitive to.
How quickly do you think that model that you just described is going to be reality in totality?
5 years.
You think it'll be that long?
If it takes that long. It's going to be 5 years for us. This industry is slow. That's why I say that, Ollin. The capability of doing it, I think, is there today, if you want my honest answer. The capability of doing a good chunk of it's here today. The thing is, for pharmacy, those of us that are early adopters and do things fast, I think we see it over the next 5 years. And then those that do it slow, you'll see them trail off the way we always see, the late adoptions trail off. And so you just have a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
We got a fragmented industry. I mean, we got 20, 30 pharmacy management systems out there across 19,000 independent stores. You've got, multiple wholesalers, secondary. Like, you got so many moving pieces that even with a really good model, you still got to train to a lot of scenarios. Now, if all independent pharmacies use one system, one process, one protocol, one blah, 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 then potentially you speed that curve up, tremendously.
I think to your point about AI adoption, I've had a lot of conversations with pharmacy owners that talk about their usage of ChatGPT, and they're like, oh, we're just now starting to use ChatGPT in this way. And in my head, I'm like, ChatGPT, people have been using it that way like 5 years ago. So, it's a little bit slower to kind of adopt these things into pharmacy. So it's a great point that you bring up.
Well, and a lot of people don't understand it. So if you're not doing the research, you need to be careful with the tools that you're using. So understanding what hallucinations are, understanding how to prompt effectively, understanding how to challenge your prompts. Like, you need to know those things, or you need to hire somebody who's got some expertise there so you don't, take missteps or cause yourself issues because you're just not well versed. And, a lot of pharmacies try to save money in all the wrong places. And I've been guilty of it in the past myself. And it's like, you need to spend where it makes sense to spend and retract where it makes sense to retract. And I don't think you go bearish on technology in this environment. I think that's where you need to be allocating some of your dollars, and your willingness to experiment. That's the other thing I see pharmacies do a lot is they get out there, they try something for a week and they go, oh, this doesn't work for me. That's the biggest load of BS on the freaking planet. Unless you're running an alien operation that none of us understand. Business is business. Business 101 is business 101. If it didn't work for you, you probably sucked, quite frankly. And you need to figure out like, hey, how do I suck less? And let me go change. It's tough love. It's me talking to myself here too. It's like, hey, my copy probably wasn't good. My avatar was probably wrong. The thing I was trying to do probably wasn't good enough. That 5% discount, I was probably being a cheap ass. It probably needed 50% off to get that first adoption. Like, those are the things we got to go back and question, especially when the tech is good enough and it's taking care of things. Then you got to go back and go, okay, what's the limiting factor? And we tend to be our own bottlenecks in success.
So AJ, pharmacy out there listening into this, where would you say kind of start? Like if they're just looking to get into this AI thing and they want to get a head start, then like where would you tell them to kind of just start dipping their toe in?
Mm-hmm.
Other than ChatGPT, something in their pharmacy,
Yeah, so it's tough to say depending on how you want to utilize. I mean, obviously, I'd say come our way. We're priced super aggressively. We can set stages up and walk you through each step. Happy to do it. We share as many free resources as we can because one, we know it's a little bit hard, and we also know it takes a lot to put things together to make it happen. So typically, when we share all the avenues you can go down, you realize what it really takes to do this cohesively, and we're happy to help solve there. But I mean, honestly, I would start with your ChatGPTs of the world and understand prompting, because the quality of your answer comes from the quality of the question. And the intelligence, as we once knew it, was how much do you know and the quality of what you know. And today it has nothing to do with how much you know. It has to do with how critically can you think, how well can you prompt, or can you ask the question that you're trying to ask, and how much clear direction can you give creating that and building off of that. And so that really changes the competitive landscape, because now we're saying you got access to everything. How are you going to extract the data that you have access to now, and how are you going to package it together to accomplish X, Y, or Z?
That's a good point. We spent about a week on a prompt for an automation here. Took us about a week.
Yeah.
So
we've had
building
coding. Yeah, we've had coding prompts we've spent tons of time on. And I'm telling you, like, the complexity of the prompt, you guys know this, is like we could have a binder full. I mean, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of direction in getting the extraction that we want in the prompting that we're going for. Most pharmacies don't need to do this. Like, I'd say, like, hey, if you're not doing social media in a meaningful way, go hop on ChatGPT, go utilize a tool that allows you to leverage a few social media platforms, augment how you build your posts with ChatGPT, and then give it a little tweak to customize it for yourself or prompt it appropriately. And now all of a sudden take what a marketing company was charging you, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month to do, and go do it yourself in one day for the whole month. And by the way, we have all those tools built in. So if you wanted to do it on our side of the house, you can do it. If you want to go do it with a third-party product, go use ChatGPT. You're going to want to pay for the $20 a month version and go get something like a Hootsuite that's $200 or $300 a month. So, those things will allow you to go and start to play with this and leverage this, or start a newsletter. You can go use your expertise to ask all the right questions, sitting in the patient's seat, to create a newsletter. You're smart enough to fact check the newsletter that's coming and being prompted, but you don't have to sit there and use all your creative juices to try to write 4 or 5 paragraphs every single week. Let it blow it out, and then you go give it your personal touch and you do a quick fact check on it. Or if you get really good at prompting, make it go fact check itself and provide all of the appropriate research and documentation that you can look at and verify, and set the rules around it, and so on and so forth. So you can start to dig your layers in as you play with these things. So pretty crazy.
I sat in on a marketing class at the RBC show, and they did a survey of the owners in the room. And the biggest problem that owners faced when it came to marketing was the amount of time they felt like it takes to create marketing, the amount of time it takes to put together a social media calendar and social media post, and all these things can be, you know, when I look at pharmacy social media pages, you know, a lot of these things can be fixed just by increasing volume, and you really don't have to put like a ton of effort into it. You can just use ChatGPT to kind of build out like 2 or 3 posts a week for you, and just start there. Really simple. On the newsletter piece, I mean, you can record a video and then take the transcript from that video and turn it into a newsletter. Just repurpose it. That's really all you're doing, is just repurposing content.
Yep. And you're directing it. You're putting your agenda on the content. And so if you're prompting appropriately, you're putting your agenda on the content. It's nothing different than we've done forever. You know, it's just how you can source it now is in a matter of seconds versus days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's wild. I mean, yeah, I can nerd out on this stuff for days. I mean, it's you know, and the thing I would say is, like, you got to be intentional about what you're doing. So I went and visited a place out in Vegas that's, you know, big time social influencer, the Alex Hormozzi's group, acquisition.com, and went out there and did a seminar with those guys. And dude, I sat in that room and just thought, like, every single one of those employees was a gangster, man. Like, every single one of them was just next level. And they were all young. I mean, young, hungry, coming to the office at 5 a.m., leaving 10 o'clock at night, like, just hungry. And when you look at, like, taking the emotion out of things, because a lot of us do what our gut feels, which is typically wrong in business, quite frankly, versus just, like, pay attention to the facts. These guys were just relentless and unemotional in what they did, and they've done it on so many businesses, like every style of business. And so these guys don't know the business. They don't know HVAC. They don't know pharmacy. They don't know accounting. They don't know those things. What they do know is the formula for success when it comes to business, to marketing, and simple things that most pharmacies don't know, like what's your CAC, what's your LTV, you know, what are the things that you're actually measuring when you go out and do this stuff. And so there's this basic premise of knowledge that's unknown. And so our goal at Drugstore Doors, like, most pharmacies aren't going to go after this massive education. And so we're trying to build, like, done with you or done for you style models where we can take all of that information that we have, and instead of leveraging a bunch of people, leverage a bunch of technology and drop it in. And then the thing I always tell pharmacies, like, at some point, it's not going to be how much do you charge a month. It's how much can we create a month, and you're going to pay proportional to what we can create. And what I mean by that is, if I came to you, Ollin, and I said, hey, for every $1 you give me, we've got a CAC that's going to produce $3 back. And I want to go run this until the ratio goes from 1 to 3 to 1 to 1.5. Would you do anything short of dump your bank account out? If that was the ratio, I could guarantee you, no. So I watch these guys, they go out there, and I've seen some CACs that are ridiculous. That's a modest one. But these guys will go out there, and I had a personal friend who did this too, and then ended up packaging up and selling to Anheuser-Busch on their product. But they just went out and found their market, so they built their avatar. And for this particular product, this was his third company. This particular product was Wine by the Glass. And the target they found through Facebook was soccer moms between the age of 30 and 50, I think. Yeah. And as soon as they nailed that avatar, they went from, like, spending $10,000, $15,000 a month in trying to find the right avatar for the product to dumping $1 million a month, because every dollar they put in got them 5 back. And they took that company from inception to execution to exit in 12 months, because they were basically printing money for 12 months straight. It was wild. You know what I mean? So those are the things we just don't pay attention to. We get caught up in this echo chamber of pharmacy, and then we go to all the same conferences that say all the same shit, that keep us in all the same hole, that are necessary, but man, they do nothing for the practicality and business case for independent pharmacy. Nothing.
Yeah.
Sadly.
You know, one of the things, going back to what you said about the Facebook group for, like, soccer moms and everything, there's one of the things when I sat in on the marketing class, like, I was giving the people that were running it ideas, because some of the things that they were talking about was just like, oh, just post on social media more. But there's Facebook groups, local Facebook groups that you can dial into. That's all organic, so you don't have to pay anything for that. That's just free content distribution right there. There's collaborations on Instagram that you can tap into. But to your point, it's like a lot of the conferences, they say a lot of the same things. And some of it is necessary, but there's a lot of new and innovative ideas that pharmacies can really tap into.
Yeah. And if you go to a channel like that, like for instance, if you take the Hormozy case, I'll go back to them just because they do it so well. They'll tell you, take one channel and you haven't mastered that channel until you're doing $1 million a month off that one channel. And then you can explore channel number 2. So like if Facebook's going to be your thing or YouTube's going to be your thing or paid ads in that space, the recommendation is you go pump that until it's $1 million a month in return off that channel. If you haven't done that, you haven't even got close to mastering the channel. Don't even try to do other things. You know what I mean? So we have this like lady in red dress syndrome or whatever you want to call it, where we're constantly chasing the next thing because it's really boring to do things consistently. And you don't get that rush. And so, you know, finding a way to challenge it and go deeper and go deeper and go deeper and go deeper is, you know, I think where we need to go. And again, I'm guilty of this. I'm freaking in pharmacy and I'm in real estate and I'm in tech and I'm in, it's like you sit down and you go, okay, let's fill out. What am I really going to focus on? And let me kind of pull some things back and then let's go super hard focus here.
You obviously, AJ, have a passion for pharmacy and technology. That's pretty clear. So, always insightful to have you on. I want to get you back on, AJ, because this is forward-thinking stuff. So I want to get you back on, and we can kind of keep you on a rotation here and talk about this crazy stuff that's happening. Crazy but fun and adventurous, I guess I'd say. So
yeah, next time I'll bring a voice AI agent on and we can have some fun, you know, with conversation and some of the stuff that you can do there. I mean, you can have a wild time and they're so good. It's already so good. And so we've got it in full testing mode right now. So maybe next time we can have a little fun and bring our Bailey, the AI agent, on and have some conversations and see what we can do.
We teased around with that a little bit here.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, AJ. Well, we'll see you next time, and we appreciate it.